it all together. We're going to bring the ball in, we're going to bring the blocker in, and we're going to draw it on the screen, and we're going to get the ball bouncing on the screen. So the first thing we need to do, extends JFrame, the JPanel, I apologize. And we need implements key listener. This will allow the keyboard to be active and we'll be able to paint on the JPanel. So import the JPanel, then import the key listener. Now, once both those are imported, you're going to have to hover over ball blocking game, and Eclipse will be kind enough to add unimplemented methods, meaning it will write 4 methods down here. So when we press on the keyboard, type, and re-release, you need these. That's what the unimplemented methods, that's implements, and we'll talk about that more in depth later on. Right now, we'll just use that. So then, we have a few global variables that will be in this class. So the global variables. We need to make the ball. So we go static, we call the class ball, and then we do a lowercase ball. That will be the instantiated object. Equals new ball. And then we're actually going to make the blocker. Blocker. And when you instantiate these, when those lines of codes happen, they go straight to the constructor and set up all those global variables so that we can end up using them. So we're going to have a few other global variables. We're going to have a string, a static string, and we're going to call it start, and it will be please press Y to start the game. The game will start and it will be the ball will not be moving. You'll press Y and then the ball will move, and that's going to be the instruction on the screen. We also have static int counter. Let's call it score. Score equals 0. We're going to we're going to try to keep score here in this game. We may need to come back up here and add another variable, but if we do that, I will tell you about it. So then we have public static void main string args. Our good old starting main method. Inside of here, we need to build an instance of this class. So the class is called ball blocking game, and I usually call it lowercase g game equals new ball blocking game. And it creates an instance of this so that we can add it into a frame. So what we say now is frame.add game. So it adds the game in. Before that, we need to build the frame. So JFrame. Frame equals new JFrame. And if you want to put in here a title, something like ball blocking game. Now let's import JFrame. Import it. And now let's set the size, the frame dot set size, our standard 800 by 600. Then frame dot set default close operation, JFrame dot exit on close. That allows us to close the frame, allows the X to work. Then we need to do frame dot add key listener game. So we need to make the game. The keystrokes will be allowed to work with this game now that they're in the frame. And then frame dot set visible true. So we'll set it visible. We'll be able to see it. And then while we're here, while true. So this is a never-ending loop. This loop will never stop. It will never end, because what we want the game to do is to repaint. Now, sometimes it goes too fast. We like to sometimes put the thread to sleep. And I typically put it to sleep for about 5 milliseconds, anywhere from 1 to 5 to 10. Now, because this is something Java is worried about, we click on add throws to declaration. And up top it says throws interrupted exception. Now if we run this right now, I do want to run it. Just want to make sure mine is working. It is a blank GUI with the title. Make sure you X out so you don't run out of power on your computer. Then we will have the paint method. Public void paint graphics G. Graphics is a class Java has built for us. We import it, and it allows us to access things with using the variable G here. It could be any variable. Traditionally, you see the letter G. I'm going to close the main method. Now we're up to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do g.setColor. I'm going to set the color to black. So color.black, going for the more traditional game you saw in the 70s and 80s, the black background. And then we do g.fill rectangle. Now, the first two numbers are where the rectangle starts. The top left corner, 0, 0. Then it goes, what is the width of it? Well, the width is 800. It will not be exactly 800. And then the height, 600. So while we're at this and you run it, you should now see a black screen here. What we're going to do is put green borders around the side. So I'm going to use the preset colors that Java has built for us. Color.green. The capital one because it's a final. We don't want it to change. Those numbers are set. And then you do g.fill rectangle. The first rectangle will be on the left side. So we'll start at 0, 0. Then we will go over 20 pixels. And then we'll go down 600. The next rectangle is g.fill rectangle. Again, starting at 0, 0. So that's the x coordinate, the y coordinate. Then how far over do I want to go? 800 pixels. I want it to go all the way across the top. Then 20 pixels down. So you run it. It should look like this right now. Now the left side gets sometimes a little tricky because it doesn't always make it 800 pixels wide. So I will do g.fill rectangle. Now this time it's not at 0, 0 because it's the top right corner. Now it doesn't go all the way over to 800. Traditionally, I guess usually around 765. That usually works. And it's at the top of the screen, so 0. What's the width of this? I want it to be 20 pixels. And how far down do I want it to go? 600 pixels. So now when you look at this, it should look like that. Okay, I'm going to move it over because I don't want this black exposed on the side. So maybe 770. Try that one more time. We'll see what happens here. Maybe 775. And that'll be the last. Even if it's not perfect, I'm going to leave it there. Okay, now I'm going to put the score on the screen. So I'm going to do g.drawString. And what I'm going to do here is the string is going to say start. That's the variable at the top that says press Y. Actually, I do want to say score first. Score, and then space, and then the variable score. So remember, that's the word score will go on the screen, then the variable screen. And I'll put it in the middle of the screen somewhere, about 400, and then down about 300. I did want to do one thing right before it. G.set font. I actually want to make a new font. And you make a new font by doing new font, parentheses there. And Java has built this for you, so I'm going to import fonts. And there's lots of different fonts. The one I'm going to go with is Times Roman. Then I am going to say font.bold. And then I'm going to make it 20. Okay, and then while I'm at it, I'm just going to put the last thing up on the screen that I want to do in this video is the start screen. Start. And I want it to be over 400 and down 400. This is going to disappear when I press Y. So this is where our game is at this point. So right there, score is going to be in the middle. Press Y. I actually don't like how low it is, so I'm going to move it up a little on the screen. So to move it up, I'm going to make it 100, and then I'm going to make it 150. And then the next video, we'll finish this up. We'll get the keyboard working. There you go. That's more to what I want. You can move it where you would like.